to the news. Final documents from the ongoing Jeffrey Epstein court files were released. They were made public today, and even more references to high-profile individuals, including, once again, former President Bill Clinton in one deposition. Transcript, Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, confirming that she did, in fact, fly on Epstein's plane with Clinton. The former president did admit to flying on Epstein's plane, but says he never visited the infamous island. Now, while the world got some answers this week, there is still a lot we don't know. Many are now calling for more details, including Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn, who's now demanding that the Senate Judiciary Committee subpoena the Epstein flight logs. Senator Blackburn joins us now, along with Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. You know, there has been such a fight, Senator Blackburn, about this issue. It does make one wonder why people are fighting so hard. And I'm not sure I really believe the stories of certain people that tried to minimize their role when, in fact, we've discovered through these documents that they were more deeply involved with Epstein than previously thought.
You're correct about that, Sean, and this is the reason to go in and subpoena the flight log, Ghislaine Maxwell's little black book. We want the video footage from the FBI. We also want the documents around the investigation and interrogations that the FBI has conducted. It is imperative that we figure out who was involved with Jeffrey Epstein. That is the only way we're going to break apart this $150 billion a year human trafficking, sex trafficking ring and get justice for these women and girls that have suffered. They're victims, they're survivors of these sex trafficking rings.
Do you know anything about whether the reports of potential videotapes of famous people involved with these young women are actually real?
We are aware that the FBI has video footage of the coming and going from the Epstein residences. That is footage that we would like to get. As I've said many times, this is not about celebrity. This is about criminal activity. And we need to know who was associated and affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein. And beginning to get this information so law enforcement can break apart these sex trafficking rings. This is what we're trying to do. I'm the top Republican on the Human Rights Subcommittee. We have put a lot of focus on protecting women and girls and children and breaking this atrocious industry apart. And Sean, it is an industry, as I said, $150 billion a year. We also want to know, was Jeffrey Epstein involved with the cartels? We know now that he was involved with Jean-Luc Brunel, who was the sex trafficker in France. We've learned that from the documents. So every little piece of information helps us.
Lindsey, Senator Graham, let me go to you. I want you to weigh in on this topic. Also, my understanding is you just came back from a long trip. You've been in Israel. You've been in Saudi Arabia. You've met with world leaders. And any news you have on that front would be welcome. A little disturbing to learn the Biden administration is now openly pretty much telling Israel they need to stop winning their war against Hamas, which is beyond disturbing to me. They have every right to defend their country and their way of life.
Well, number one, I want to pass my condolences on to Melania losing her mother. She has been very attentive to her mother. Secondly, I did get back from Israel and Saudi Arabia. The attack against Israel on October the 7th, I think, was motivated by Iran to stop the nightmare of the Arabs reconciling with the Israelis, a nightmare in Iran's world for the Arab conflict to end and Saudi Arabia recognize Israel. So I'm cautiously optimistic the normalization efforts are still on track. We've got a long way to go. As to Marsha, I want to tip my hat to her. She's been tenacious. She's asking for the flight logs of who traveled with Epstein. I'd like to know that myself. She's wanting to know why he got such a sweetheart deal in 2015. Remember the Acosta guy that was the prosecutor, but I think became labor secretary? He gave Epstein probation with numerous allegations of child rape. How did he get such a sweetheart deal? There's so much we don't know. The well-connected in America cannot get away with abusing young girls and child rape. So I want Senator Durbin to know you've accused Republicans on the committee of blocking the subpoena request of Senator Blackburn. That's BS. Every Republican is with Senator Blackburn. Senator Durbin, we want to subpoena everything she's asked for, the flight logs, information about the sweetheart deal of 2015, and we on Judiciary Republicans want to get it out and get it out now so America can judge for themselves.
Let me ask you one follow-up question on the Middle East. I agree with both of you on the Epstein issue, and that is one of the Saudi leaders actually said today that they want to normalize relations with Israel, but they said as a condition that you would need a state of Palestine. Is that your understanding? Was that your discussion?
I'm not going to really talk about the details, but I'll tell you this: there will be no deal that Israel doesn't agree to. Destroying Hamas is non-negotiable. Reconciling between Saudi Arabia and Israel makes the world safer. It's a nightmare for Iran. Palestinian state is something Israel will have to discuss.
Yeah, all right. We'll continue to follow that story. Israel does have a job, and that's to defend their homeland. And they were the ones under attack. They just want to fight the war, and Joe Biden should stop pressuring them to stop. He should be encouraging them to actually win the war quickly, as quickly as possible. All right, thank you both. When we